December 29th, 1963. The town is Chicago. The two best football teams in the world meet in a deadline to glory.
That was the first game I ever went to. My uncles couldn't have picked a better game for me to go to.
No one has played middle linebacker better than Dick Butkus.
In my opinion, the greatest defensive football player that ever lived. Gale Sayers once asked me who was better, me or Peyton. I said, if I need one game, I want you. If I need a season, I'll take Walter. He says, that sounds fair. Changed the whole culture of the Chicago Bears. Enjoyed working with the guy, enjoyed being friends with the guy, and he's a legend.
You're 100% right, but you're a pain in the butt.
I actually cried when they won the Super Bowl. I couldn't believe it.
I just have one thing to say. We all have bragging rights over the whole goddamn country.
Lovie Smith was a heck of a coach. I was not a Lovie Smith fan, but he made me a Lovie Smith fan. Matt Nagy sabotaged his career. Him and Trubisky had something good going. They made the playoffs twice in 4 years. He took his career, threw it in a dumpster, and now he's getting coffee for Andy Reid. I like the Bears for third place this year, but surprise us. 5 to 6 teams a year that make the playoffs are new teams that didn't make it the year before. Hopefully they'll be one of them.
Welcome, everyone, to a very, very special episode of the Mike North Advantage. My name is Aldo Gandia. The gentleman on your screen left is, of course, the great Mike North. Mike North, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Aldo. It's a great day for me. It's a great day. It's been 34 years too long, to be honest with you. One of the most unusual
day, Mike, and you were like a kid in a candy store. You were so excited about this upcoming interview you're having.
Well, he's one of my favorite people. I mean, if you can have a favorite person you've only met one time and left you with an impression of what kind of competitor he was. I kept putting it in my mind, as you know, we've been together, you and I, for 5, 6, some years. And there won't be a week that goes by that I don't think at least one time about this guy. Because he was terrific as a pitcher. He's a hard-nosed guy, a lot like we are. Doesn't take any BS, but also a great guy. And we have one of the most unusual stories ever between an athlete and any type of media person. So without further ado, I want to bring on one of the all-time greats. I want to just read a couple things here. Dave Stieb won 140 games in the 80s, okay? He had a no-hitter, but he carried 4 no-hitters into the 9th inning. He carried 6 past the 6th inning. His strikeout pitch was the high inside fastball. It didn't matter if it was a lefty or a righty. He had other pitches, but he was a power pitcher originally, and then he picked up other pitches. He's in the Canadian Hall of Fame. He was a Sporting News Player of the Year in 1982, made 7 All-Star teams. He just had so many things going for him. Mm-hmm. And listen to this. He leads the Blue Jays all time still. Shutouts, strikeouts, complete games, All-Star appearance, wins, the whole ball of wax. And it's the second highest total by a pitcher in that decade, only behind a guy who I believe was a teammate, but also early arch rival, Jack Morris. One of the most influential guys in my life, if you can meet one guy. And I'm pleased to have on a great pitcher, a great competitor, Dave Stieb. How you doing, Dave?
Dave!
I'm doing really good. I got a swelled head now.
Dave, I got to tell you, first of all, I know I called you the other night, and you didn't, not the other night, 2 weeks ago, and I finally got a call about, I think about a week ago, less than a week ago, saying it's Dave Stieb. And I thought you probably just let it pass, which you probably did because you didn't recognize the number. But what was, when we first talked the other night, you told me one thing. You said, I can't believe a guy's calling me 33 years later. And it sort of struck me. But that tells you what it meant, doesn't it? That I kept thinking about this forever, although I never picked up the phone. And I think you probably found that sort of weird at first, didn't you? Dave? Dave? Are you there?
And I didn't give it much thought, and it sat there in my messages on my phone, and I finally said, you know what?
We're breaking up a little bit. Aldo, I can't hear him. Aldo, I can't hear him. We have to call him back. We'll call you back, Dave.
A technical problem here. Can we call you right back and hopefully we'll get a better signal?
Sure.
All right. Well, I'm going to hang up and call you right back.
Okay.
So you can hear him at all?
No. I heard him parts, but then I couldn't hear him at all.
Oh, that's weird.
And
okay.
He goes out. He goes out.
You heard him earlier, right?
And then he went off.
Hello?
All right. Can you hear me, Dave?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, buddy. Let's talk about this. When I called you the other night, you didn't really basically, answer the phone right away because you broke up earlier. I want to get your impression of when I first called you, and then you answered 2 weeks later.
And then what?
And then you answered 2 weeks later. And what was your impression?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys heard this part at first, but I thought what got my attention was the playing catch of the aqueduct. And I don't know, it was probably late for me when I saw it, so I forgot for days, and then I remembered it, and I thought, you know what, I want to find out that story, because he obviously remembers it better than I do. And as a result, I gave you a call, and like I said, we had a great talk, and it was great reminiscing and reliving that story. And I had mentioned that, I'm old now and I forget some stuff. So it's really cool to have people that, remember stuff vividly, and it's like you relive it again. So that was a lot of fun.
For people that don't know what happened, I'm going to fill in the blanks right here. And it's also on one of my episodes of Raging Mouth. What happened was Dave was picked up by the White Sox. And I did find out and Dave, it was Ron Schuler who was the GM at the time. And I had said on the radio, I was working with my partner, Dan Jiggets, and we got a notification that Dave Stieb had been picked up by the White Sox. And this was 1993. And I said, Dave Stieb, I wish they would have picked him up 5-6 years ago, because Dave, quite frankly, in my opinion, isn't the same pitcher as he was. It seems to me that he might be done. Maybe he's trying to find lightning in a bottle here. Wish him nothing but the best of luck, but I don't think it's going to work out. And lo and behold, I say that. And then that night, I'm at Gibson Steakhouse downtown, and I'm having a couple libations with my buddies. And I remember it like it was yesterday, because it was the weirdest thing. I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and I look, and you go, "How you doing?" I hear, "You might have a problem with me." I go, I don't even know who you are, because I didn't put you together with you being in there, and I had only seen you in a baseball uniform. But then I saw the face with the mustache and the whole ball of wax. I said, he goes, "I'm Dave Stieb." I go, "You are Dave Stieb." I go, what are you doing here? He says, "Well, you know, I heard you had something to say about me." I said basically that, you're trying to catch lightning in a bottle. It didn't look like to me it was going to work out. And then I'm going to let you basically pick up from there, because you gave me the shock of my life after that, didn't you? Do you remember what you told me?
Oh man, not verbatim, no. But I told you basically that you had a point that this was a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
Was it that? Like,
and then you said, instead of taking a shot at me,
yeah.
why don't you come catch me?
Yeah. There you go.
I go, excuse me. And you said, yeah, I'm staying by Lake Point Towers right next door, the building there. He goes, why don't we get together tomorrow and you can catch me? I go, well, I don't have no equipment. I had about 7, 8 drinks before, during the evening. And you said, that's okay. If you want to help me, try catching me instead of talking. And so I said, okay. The next day, I wake up and it's pouring sideways. The rain's sideways. That's how bad it was. Winds, everything. And I said, BB, it doesn't look like it's going to work out. It's raining. I called you up and you said, where you at? I said, well, Dave, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's pouring. He goes, well, get down here. You got to know a viaduct to where we can go. And then you threw to me. We got down there. We found a viaduct, Grand Avenue, by the North Branch of the Chicago River, well known by Lower Wacker. And you went on one side, and I went on the other side, and you threw to me. And here's the thing: you didn't remember because you asked me where did I get the catcher's equipment, and I said you gave it to me. I don't know how you got it. You had you gave me a mask and you gave me a chest protector, and you said catch me, and you threw 65 pitches. And I've always wondered, why wasn't there anybody at the ballpark? Number one, and number two, did you do that to bust my balls, thinking I would say no? Or did you think that I would do it?
No, I think they see. I was left behind spring training because of my elbow, and so when they finally wanted to bring me up, they were on the road, and I had to drive my car. I think something to that effect. So I was going to get there, by flying there. So when I got there, they weren't there. The team was not in Chicago when I got there. That's why I was looking for someone to throw to, because I probably hadn't thrown for a couple days.
But I got to ask you this. Isn't it unusual nowadays if you're picked up by anybody, or if you're called up from the minor leagues or from spring training, or where you're working out probably, to get yourself together, don't they usually send you to the road city where they're at instead of sending you to Chicago when you've been picked up by a team and the team isn't there?
Exactly. And, and I don't know the circumstances. The only thing that makes sense to me is because I had my vehicle there, and I had to get my vehicle up there, and they were in no hurry to, have me be there, obviously. So I drove, I think. And that's why they didn't fly me anywhere. I don't. Yeah, that's the best I can recollect it. You'd have to ask the GM that question. He would probably know.
Yeah, because that's so White Sox nowadays. I thought that maybe back then they would fly you with the team so you could work out with the team instead of finding a talk show host to throw to. Let me ask you, when we got there, what did you, if you remember correctly, BB, my wife, was in the back. We rode in my Volkswagen. I had a yellow Volkswagen at the time. When we got to the viaduct, I know you took it easy, but you were still throwing pretty hard. You threw some pitches that were off speed. You threw some. You were basically soft tossing, which when Dave Stieb soft tosses, it's not a soft toss, ladies and gentlemen. I only dropped like a couple balls, but you were on one side of the curb. I was on the other. Do you remember if you said this guy's not going to be able to catch me, or maybe this guy's going to screw up, or did you have enough faith in me where you thought I could do it?
Well, I had to throw a few first just to see what your skill level, because I didn't want to hurt you. And obviously the lighting could have been very good there. So there were those things to consider. But yeah, I didn't throw all out. No, I didn't throw all out. I just needed to, get the arm moving because I hadn't thrown for a little bit, I think.
Right. You hadn't thrown for a while. I want to ask you about the fact that what kind of shape was your arm in when the White Sox picked you up? Because I remember you pitching and you were lights out. I mean, period. End of story. You hold all sorts of Blue Jay records still. You won 176 games while only losing 137. And yeah, well, you know what? I did my homework with you, pal. I mean, I respect the hell out of you. You pitched a no-hitter against the Indians in September of 1990. It's the only no-hitter in Blue Jays history, folks. You should have had about 3 or 4 more no-hitters. Let me ask you something. You didn't make the Hall of Fame your first at bat in the first year, but you also didn't get the amount of votes that you needed to stay on the ballot, which is mind-boggling to me. But you're like me a lot. You never cared if you made friends with the press or you made friends with the opposition. You probably weren't a guy that wanted to shake hands with the other team, even if you saw them later on in the evening or something, or you ran into somebody. That was your makeup. That's my makeup. Do you think that vote, which is absolutely ridiculous for a guy of your ilk, was a blackball vote by the writers?
Very possible, but I had said all along that I didn't think my stats were good enough to make it because of the way they looked at you. And for a starting pitcher, it was all about wins. Obviously, I didn't have enough wins, although I think I had more than Sandy Koufax, but I didn't throw for, no-hitters and play for however many World Series teams and win the Cy Young Award all these years and just dominate for a 4 or 5 year period of time. But to be thrown off the ballot my first year was like a slap in the face. I had, and like I said, I didn't care that I didn't make it, but my God, there's no way it was that bad that I'm not even on the ballot after 1 year. And not to pick on Jack Morris, but you look at a guy who was on the ballot for 17 years and then finally makes it. And I've always said, his stats didn't change over those 17 years. Whoever voted for him gave him enough votes the first year to stay on the ballot and stay on every year after that. Here we're talking about a guy who was above me in the decade of the 80s, and I'm the second best pitcher of the 80s, right? And I'm off the ballot the first year. And so I made a stink about it. I said, that's a slap in the face. That is total disrespect. Yep. And I'm pissed. And that's all I'm going to say about it. And there's been a lot more said, but we don't. Well,
let me ask you this: Jack Morris and you were arch rivals before he came over there. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's that too. And after the '91 season, I had back surgery, and I had to have it done in December so I could be ready for spring training. And at that point in time, they didn't know when I'd be ready or if I would be even ready at all. So they had to find a backup plan, and of all the people to get, they get my nemesis. Now we're on the same team together, and that was a tough pill to swallow. And not only that, but to watch him win 20 games, be the first Blue Jay to win 20 games, and the way he went about it, it was. Gosh, I hate to make it sound bad about him, but that was the crappiest 20-game season I've ever seen anyone pitch.
Right.
It was about run support because we had a really great team, obviously. And it just coincides with my whole career and my bad luck of, wow, finally got a great team to play for, and not to diss any of the other teams I had before, but this was a great team compared to the others. And I can't even use them, because after 14 games or so, Cito puts me in the bullpen. Oh. And now I get tendonitis in my elbow, and I'm watching the rest of the year. And we make it to the World Series and win the World Series, and they buy me out of my contract after the parade. And I'm a free agent finally after all these years. It was really nice of them to use me and abuse me like they did for all those years. And now I'm injured, and here's some money. Bye. Thanks for everything you did. And by the way, I feel like that guy we brought in and take your place. He won 20 games, something you couldn't do. Yeah, well, thanks a lot. And then the only team that was interested in me was the White Sox. And I thought, okay, this will be a new lease on life. And my elbow still was bothering me when I started to play with them in spring training. And they left me behind because, my elbow was what it was, and I wasn't 100%. I missed half of the 92 season, I mean. So it was very disappointing, too, that they didn't stick with me longer because, they had a good team that year. I think they went to the playoffs, and I didn't get to, enjoy any of that, really. And once again, I was in a rotation where they didn't score many runs. I think they scored like 0. I pitched 4 games, so it's 1-3. And they scored like 0 runs, 1 run, 2 runs, and like 9 runs. And obviously, when they scored the 9 runs, I won that game. And I remember that game pretty vividly. It was in Chicago, and it was raining. And we're playing the Brewers, which goes to along my normal path of first game I ever won was against the Brewers. And here I am on this new team, and my only win was against the Brewers, and it was raining. And I'm just trying to get through 5 innings and enjoy it.
Yes.
5, 8, 9 runs that I got, because that is a real shame to not make it through 5. And I remember that was the hardest part about that. And I remember there was not many people left in the stands after the rain delay, and we started playing again. And there were these guys heckling the other guy on the Brewers team, and it was so loud and vivid. I'm just going, man, will you guys shut up? Get through 5 innings here. I just need 1 more inning. So I remember that about that game. But also that particular game, Carlton Fisk caught me, and that was a thrill. I always loved Carlton Fisk.
So did I. So do I.
What a great player. History. He exemplifies history in the game. And it was an honor to have him catch me and especially win. And that's the only win I got with the White Sox. And then, next you know, I'm released. I got fired. That's not a good feeling, getting fired. So that was very disappointing, like I said, to not be given more of a chance to, turn it around and get myself together.
Dave Stieb is in the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, and Dave, there's some great players there, and one of the pitchers there is Fergie Jenkins. I mean, you got to be special to be in the Canadian Hall of Fame. Larry Walker, some big-time players. Also, you are there was a book out, it's called The 100 Most Underappreciated Players in Baseball History that didn't make the Hall of Fame, and you're one of them. Joe Pesnowski listed Stieb as one of the 100 best players not in the Hall of Fame. Pesnowski called Stieb a master at being underrated and underappreciated. Is that accurate?
Oh, that hits the nail right on the head. Yeah. And, I'll tell you what, when I got inducted at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, Fergie was there. And, it was great to meet him, and what a great guy he is.
Oh, yeah. He's unbelievable. And I still know Fergie. Fergie is, if they were going to name after Ernie Banks a Mr. Cub, he'd probably be the second guy. The guy once had 6 20-game win seasons in a row, and lost 5 1-0 games to Bob Gibson in 1 year, which leads me to this. You brought up wins earlier. I am so aggravated when I see guys win the Cy Young with an 11-9 record, a Robbie Ray with a 13-win record, guys that
with the Mariners, 13 wins also, or 12. Oh yeah, I can't even tell you how much that disgusts me, because I'm like, oh, now you don't really need to win games to win the Cy Young. You just need pitch some innings and have a low ERA. Well, I did that also, but it didn't matter then. But yeah, that's really disheartening, and even at my age now, it's still hard to swallow.
You know what, Dave? I love your candor, and that's the way I am. I got to ask you this. You carried 3 no-hitters into the 9th inning with 26 outs. You brought up Sandy Koufax. He pitched 4. He pitched like 4 no-hitters, what have you. If you pitched another no-hitter, or if 2 more no-hitters would have happened, are you in the Hall of Fame?
I don't think so.
Still, you don't think so?
He Cy Young awards.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe 9 or 10 Gold Gloves. Now one guy wins one starting pitcher wins 6, 7, 8 Gold Gloves in a row. That's another thing that's baffling to me, and that's all about the writers. And I've already said this to some friends. I go, you know why I don't have any Gold Gloves? It's because by the time they're done voting for MVP and for Cy Young Award, hey, all right, now let's get to the Gold Glove. And they're like, you know what? I'm tired. I want to go have a beer and smoke a cigar. Who won last year? Let's just give it to him.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And I would ask you, should writers?
Mark Langford. I love Mark Langford. Great guy, this and that. How do you win 6 in a row? There's many other guys in that camp of, they won every year. I'm like, there's no way that nobody else was better than them. And the thing that bites me the hardest is every game I started, the commentator would say, this guy's one of the best fielding pitchers in the game. And I'm like, where's my Gold Glove?
Yeah.
You have this moniker almost every game you start. And I'm talking about in 1998, I'm 41 years old. And I'm pitching my first game on that miraculous comeback in Toronto. Buck Martinez, even all these years later, says he's one of the best fielding pitchers in the game. And I made 2 nice plays, and I could still do it at 41 years old. I got 0 Gold Gloves. And you know what? I will not put that mostly on the writers. That was a Canadian thing. I got gypped of so many things because I played in Canada.
Right. You're right. You're right. It was new. It was new.
For the writers and playing in Canada, they didn't want to give anybody in Canada an award if they didn't have to.
So,
but as time goes on, they're recognizing us as a team to contend with. I still didn't get any awards.
So if you were with the Yankees. If you were with the Yankees and you did all this, if you were with the Indians and you did all this, if you were with the Atlanta Braves and you did all this, there's a different scenario, isn't there?
Probably. It probably is.
Did you not get enough promotion from the writers? And I know that you, a lot like me when I competed, if somebody would make a mistake, okay, and this is the way I am even with my job here. Okay, although I've mellowed out just like you have. But if somebody screwed up, I'd let them know it. Did that affect you because you weren't one of those guys that said, that's okay, you dropped the 2-hopper, you might have cost me the game? You would always be, and I remember this, one of those guys that would glare at one of your players behind you because you were trying to get a job done, and sometimes there'd be a dumb error or something like that. Do you wish you would have been a little bit more lighter towards your teammates, or was that just the way it was and you better be ready to play when I'm pitching?
No, I should have never done that. And I'll tell you why I did it. And this is what I don't mind talking about anytime I do an interview and this comes up. It's because I love setting the record straight and letting people understand why I was the way I was. I was ignorant. I was naive to that kind of action. And you have to understand, they turned me into a pitcher. My whole amateur career, I was a center fielder, outfielder, batted.
Wow.
If I struck out, that's on me. If I didn't make the play, that's on me. If I didn't throw a guy out or do whatever, that was on me. Nobody else was responsible for my accolades or my good play. That was all me. Now, put a guy like that who's a perfectionist and demands the best out of himself. Now put him on the mound and never being on that mound and never having to rely on, forget the offense, score runs so I can get the win.
Mhm.
Because I'm going 5 at least. So, if you give me a lead, I'm going to win that game. But the defense, and I know errors happen, but the first time it happened, it was such a blatant error that it took me by surprise because I'm thinking I'm in the major leagues. These are major league players. How does a major league player not make this play that I reacted to? And that was the first time it happened. And I got my butt chewed out. And I realized I did something wrong. But like I said, people have to understand why I did what I did. I didn't know any better.
Uh-huh.
And then as time goes on, I might have glared again later on because there was another thing that I learned. And someone told me it's one of the hardest things in baseball is not to make it, it's to stay. And I realized in order for me to stay, I have to succeed. I have to have success. And what do I need to do that? I need my offense to score runs. I need good defense. I can't be giving up runs from bad plays because we don't score a lot of runs, especially the day I pitched. It was just always that way. And this is a transition that I went through, but it got blown out of proportion the first 2-3 years because it took me a while to get used to bad defense. And Buck Martinez has said it before. He goes, Dave's problem is he's the best player on the team. And you know what? I was an outfielder. And when you make a terrible play in the outfield, first thing comes to my mind is I could have made that play. And I could have made it easily because I was a good outfielder with a gun for an arm.
Oh, I believe it.
And that was hard to get used to because it just seemed every time there was an error, it just got magnified because next thing you know, the umpire's missing pitches. I'm walking guys, give up a blue pit. Now it's magnified and it turns into just a cluster, whatever. And so that's the story behind me doing what I did. But man, where's the forgiveness? Where is forgetting about it and understanding, first of all, why it happened, why I was that way, and understanding that I'm not that way anymore.
Right.
I still demand 100% from them, just like I demanded for myself, and I would rip myself a new butt on that mound. There's many games that can clearly be seen. It wasn't just for them. I did it to myself too. And they'll say I was my own worst enemy at times, but I'm going to tell you, I vented. That's why I was such an emotional player. But when I let things get to me, I had to vent, and I would show emotion. You'd see me stomping around, throw down the rosin bag, do whatever. And then one of my worst things was, when you stare down an umpire. And the only reason I would is I know it's going to hurt me. But when I did it, it's because it wasn't like one bad call, 2 or 3. It might have been 5, 6, 7, and I can only take so much. And now here it comes. You're going to see I'm pissed off at you, and I don't even care anymore because you haven't changed it. You haven't gotten any better, and I'm getting my butt kicked because you're worse than me today.
I agree. I agree with that. I got to ask you about the Jack Morris situation and your teammates. I'm one of these guys, and I'm like you. If I make a mistake, everybody knows it. I'll beat myself up about it. My wife knows it for a fact. If I do something, if I don't do a good show, I'm the same way. If somebody else screws up, just like earlier, I mean, it's nobody's fault. We had a bad connection, but I go, oh man, I'm ready to go. But I've learned to recover from that. I know you have too. There's no doubt about it. By the way, folks, when you get a chance, check out Dave Stieb. He's got an autobiography out. I believe. What's the name of the autobiography you have out? Nobody's Perfect, or I'll Be Perfect. Tomorrow I'll Be Perfect, which was co-written.
That's about 1986. That is so old.
like we are right now. But let me ask you,
read that.
You didn't read your own book? Look, I wrote a book. I've never read too many, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm just saying that is so old, and you'd be hard pressed to find a copy.
Some more disrespect. I bet you Some more disrespect. The Dave Stieb autobiography isn't out there, for God's sake. I got to ask you about the baseball writers. I watch more games around the country in 1 week than the beat writers who are assigned to just follow one team. And talk show hosts don't get a vote. TV guys, most of them don't get a vote. It's always been the writers who don't know crap, in my opinion, compared to guys like myself who've watched over 200 games this year, because I do gamble on baseball, which is legal now. We'll talk about that in a minute. But do you think writers should have the over-ending vote on what an athlete, a pitcher does, or a first baseman or a center fielder?
No, not at all. Should not
Okay.
even be involved.
So you would tell them, if you became commissioner tomorrow, you'd say, guess what, boys? The party's over. We're going to start voting in a different way. Maybe we'll have a fan vote. Maybe we'll do something different. You would tell the writers they're out.
It's not fans for sure either. No, it's going to be managers.
Okay.
I think just leave it to managers. That's a big enough committee to figure out who's the best pitcher in each league and who's the best player in each league. That's enough. And those are the people that know the game, that have played the game, that can decipher the certain stats that qualify you for a MVP or a Cy Young or a relief pitcher of the year. Yeah, that's so simple. That should have been the way it was done a long time. I don't know why they ever started with, let's let the writers pick this. I don't know why.
Yeah, let's talk about Cito Gaston for a minute. He was, on surface, appeared to be a great manager. Guys won a World Series and, this and that. But he never got hired anywhere else. And he did a two-tour duty with the Toronto Blue Jays. How would you rate him as a manager? How did he handle you?
Oh, boy. Are you serious?
No, well, I'm asking.
Yeah. So I'm sorry you're asking.
Oh, okay. And you don't want to answer?
Nope.
Okay. Let's move on to then why. And you were just inducted in the San Jose a Baseball Hall of Fame. I wanted to get that in also. So in other words, you believe in some way that you weren't handled properly in Toronto at times?
Exactly.
I'm just trying to sniff it out. Were you were you injured? Were you injured when you pitched for him, or was there days off that you shouldn't have had? And by the way, Tomorrow I'll Be Perfect can be found on Amazon. Listen to this, Dave, for $55. But Dave, it was Cito Gaston. Could he have handled you better? I'll put it to you as diplomatically as I can.
Yes. The only problem I had, which, well, in a nutshell, I should have never been put in the bullpen in 1982. Or I mean, 92, I'm sorry. I should have never been put in the bullpen. And it was early in the year. I had missed half a year. I've never missed a start or missed any part of a season before, with the exception of skipping a start from tendonitis in the elbow or shoulder or what have you. And in 91, in the middle of the year, I have a collision at first base. 2 weeks later, my back is messed up, and I have a herniated disc or a bulging disc. And I got the bulging disc by doing 500 sit-ups a day with a medicine ball with the trainer, with the strength coach, I mean. And, a full sit-up with a medicine ball, it's the worst thing you can do, let alone even doing full sit-ups. I ended up getting injured, because I was trying to better myself. I was trying to make my core so strong, blah, blah, blah. So as a result, I don't know if the get kneed in the head in Oakland by Ernest Riles covering the second leg of a double play did it or not. But 2 weeks later, my back is killing me and I can hardly walk. And we tried to rehab it with, weights and whatever. And it got to a point where it wasn't getting any better. And after MRIs, you can see I had a bulging disc. Well, that stuff just doesn't go back in. And so, like I said, in order to be ready for the next year, I had to have the surgery. And I had the surgery, so I came back to spring training. And I had missed half a year. So that's the first time I had ever missed a lengthy amount of time. So with that said, I come back in 92. And I stay at spring training, and then they call me up, and I'm pitching, and I'm not pitching great. I'm not doing that great, but I'm hanging in there. I'm not losing every game. Like I see some guys today that are 2-13, and boy, they're handing them the ball. They're going out there and pitching. I was 4-6 when he threw me in the bullpen.
Wow.
And by my standards, horrible year. Yeah, next to 1986, where I think my elbow's still hurt, and I just wasn't, 100%. But I was still taking the ball and pitching. And they, Jimmy Williams threw me the bullpen back then. And then 87, I had kind of a comeback year because I'm healthy again. But in 92, after 14 starts or so, he puts me in the bullpen, and that was the biggest slap in the face. I'm telling you, next to being thrown off the ballot in the Hall of Fame. And I was pissed. Mm-hmm. And I confronted him about it, and he said, "You weren't sharp. You're not sharp. You're not." And that's all he was saying to me. "You're not sharp." And I go, "Cito, I missed half of last year." "Yeah, I'm not sharp. How am I going to get sharp, Cito? If you let me pitch through it." "No, go in the bullpen."
Wow.
And I'm thinking, I'm going to get sharp at the bullpen. You're not going to use me. And he didn't. And then I had to start throwing on my own, because how else am I going to get sharp? I'm not going to get sharp sitting on the bench in the bullpen. So I would throw on my own. Well, that changed my whole throwing program. And I got a tendonitis in my elbow. And I'm telling you, when I went to flick my wrist at the end of my delivery, it felt like a red hot briquette was in my elbow, in that little bone there. Mm-hmm. And I'm on the DL, and I'm done. Now I'm done. And we win the World Series, and they just dumped my ass like, I don't even know what to say.
You don't like that organization too much anymore, do you?
I'm disappointed in them, first of all. God, I don't like this even being made public.
You don't have to make it public if you don't want, but I mean, you're not going to get cut. You're not trying out again. So, I mean, it's over with. I mean, you know what? I understand, though. You don't want to start any trouble where it's been so long. But, I mean, I followed your career. First of all, you are rated one of the 100 most underrated baseball players in history, even going through all that. But like myself, you don't smell the roses, and you don't see the birds eating the bird food, and you don't notice anything except what you're focused on. And then you see later on, but you still have maybe a couple of harboring feelings. And it seems to me, Dave, that you were burned so bad by a couple people that it's something that's going to stay with you, and no matter what you try to do. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, you're totally right. And there's nothing anyone can do to change it. And I'm the kind of guy that I understand the impact that had on me. I mean, it ended my career. He basically ended my career by doing what he did. Instead of believing in me, sticking with me, and giving my due for what I gave that organization for 15 years. And it hurt. It hurt a lot. And the way it was done, it hurt. And another day, another time, I'll tell you, there's more to this than meets the eye. So let's just leave it at that.
Okay. Let's talk about the changes in baseball for a change. Okay.
They had a chance to sign my brother in like 1982, who was a catcher. He played for the Braves in the minor leagues. He was a year older than me. They had a chance to sign him and maybe put together a brother pitcher-catcher tandem, which would have been great for the game then. Mm-hmm. And then they had a chance 5, 6, 7 years ago to sign my nephew out of Cal State Fullerton. And they were scouting him when he was in junior college in Sacramento area. Then he went to Cal State Fullerton. They were still scouting him. The draft comes up. he goes to the College World Series. My brother went to the College World Series with SIU in 1977.
Saluki.
And then my nephew, my brother's son, played in the College World Series with Cal State Fullerton 5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever it was. They don't even draft him. And don't think I'm not pissed off about that, because you know how awesome it would be to see that name up at the big leagues on that jersey? Yeah, it would have been awesome. Didn't even give him a chance, either one of them. And that's disappointing to me. And I think it's bad ball. I think it's stupid that you didn't take a shot at that, either one of those. And it's just another, for me, way to disrespect the Stieb name. And also, what I don't like is how they just don't care that much about the alumni like other teams do, and the history that players like me and many other players made that organization. We made them what they are.
Well, I want to say this, that Steve, your candidacy has attracted renewed interest. Part of the reason has been the emergence of advanced sabermetrics among starting pitchers in the 80s, which reveal your elite effectiveness. So there's people out there still, I don't even know if you know about it, but with the advanced metrics, you were lights out. Now, that's not going by wins and losses, and that's fine. You were 40 games over 500. That's good in any league. That's good in the bowling league. That's good in the basketball league. That's good in any league. So, you know, that's nonsensical. What I wanted to ask you, though, is about the changes in the game. Mike Marshall, not the hitter from the Dodgers, but a guy I hit on frequently, the pitcher of the Dodgers who won a Cy Young as a relief pitcher. We'll get to that in a minute. But he said they were training pitchers wrong now. And he told me this in 1992. Mike, they're training pitchers wrong now. He got pillaged. He got beat up. He got ravaged for what has happened now, where you have guys throwing 79 pitches. And it happens all the time with the Cubs, where the manager will come out and pull them. There's guys that can't go. Most guys can't go 100 pitches. Skeens pitched 6 innings yesterday, and they said he was lights out. If you pitched 6 innings back in the day, you'd probably be pulled because you gave up some runs. What about the changes? And do you agree with Mike Marshall? They trained the guys wrong today compared to when you were pitching.
I don't know about how they trained them, but I don't like anything about the game, and I probably couldn't pitch under these circumstances. Mm-hmm. If I'm lights out, you're taking me out of the game, man, you better bring a crane.
Yeah, that's been my point. I don't understand. These pitchers will look at the manager, he'll pat him on the ass, and they just walk off in the dugout. And then how many relief pitchers? I'm going to ask you this. You probably should have had more wins, and you probably got some losses. So when the writers vote for the Hall of Fame, do they equate the amount of times you had a lead going into the 8th inning and might have been pulled, and then the bullpen gives it up? Do they even look into any of that?
No, hell no. No. All they look at is my won-loss record. That's all they look at. They don't care about those innings pitched. You know, they don't care about, you know, the low ERAs at the time when I did put up some good years with a low ERA, you know, under 3. Led the league 1 year with that. Led the league in innings pitched 2 times. Pitched over 200 innings 9 times.
Wow.
Like I said, I gave my all to that organization. I gave it all and more and more. I pitched 12 innings one time, 11, 10 a couple times. Yeah. It's unheard of today. Nobody does that. If you go 9, wow, you're unbelievable. You should probably be in the Hall of Fame right now, I guess, because you went 9 innings. I don't like the way the game is. Guys are coddled so much, and I think the biggest part of it is they make so much money, and you can't afford to have a guy get hurt because you're going to be, you know, wasting that money, paying the guy for taking a vacation. I mean, you look at some of these pitchers, and I don't want to name names, but I'm going to tell you, a guy that gets Tommy John and doesn't pitch for a year and a half, sometimes 2, you're making 50, 60 million by rehabbing your arm from surgery. Are you kidding me? kidding me? I just made 50, 60 million over 2 years. I didn't even pitch. Man, now I got a brand new arm, and now I'm going to get coddled. I'm only going to throw 100 pitches, and that's it. And God, I hope I can pitch 5 innings with 100 pitches and maybe get a W, because I don't care who you are. When you're a starting pitcher, W's are all that matter.
Now they're not. Now it's not that way, as far as I'm concerned. I got to ask you about Mariano Rivera. Mariano Rivera. I told Steve Stone, who won a Cy Young, I call him the one-hit wonder because he had that 1 year with Baltimore, which was fantastic, and he got a big career out of anything else. But when it comes to relief pitchers, I've always been against it because you got the Rolaids Relief Pitcher of the Year award. All of a sudden, and I knew Willie Hernandez when he pitched for the Cubs. I played pool with Willie Hernandez because they all played day games back in the day. So the fans would wait for the players. Willie Hernandez couldn't pitch dead when he was with the Cubs. He becomes a relief pitcher on one of the best teams in baseball history, the '84 Tigers, and wins the Cy Young. Number one, should a relief pitcher, Mariano Rivera couldn't be a starter. He couldn't last 5 innings. He even admits that. But that 1 inning, could you have, Dave Stieb pitching 1 inning a game. How many saves would you have had with your best stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a joke that a reliever can win the Cy Young Award. That's a joke because starting pitcher can't win Rolaids Relief Pitcher of the Year.
Good point.
So with that just said alone, it doesn't make sense. There's no way. That Cy Young Award is for a starting pitcher. That's hands down the reason they have that. Not for a relief pitcher. They have their own award. But, these games now, using 6, 7 relievers, it's ridiculous. I've even said, why even have a starting pitcher? Just have 15 relievers.
Yeah.
Just have 15 relievers because, man, what good is a guy going 4 2/3 anyway? What good is that? What'd you save? You saved nothing.
Yeah, they yanked the guy. I've seen it. They yank a guy with 5 innings.
Come on, man.
I love it. You're fired up. You are so fired up, man. I am so. By the way, after an excellent 1990 season, a series of shoulder and
good for my health.
What?
This is not good for my health.
It's great for your health. You're getting it out. Enough is enough. You've been quiet too long. You've been pushed around, battled around. You were one of the best pitchers in baseball. Period. End of story. And you know what? I knew it then. But I knew in '93. I said, no. You were hanging on because you didn't make $60 million a year. What was your highest salary with the Blue Jays? When you pitched for them per year?
1992, 3.250.
Yeah, not bad back then, huh?
No, I was fortunate to get that last 2 or 3 years of making 2, 3. Mm-hmm. But the best thing that I had for me was when I signed my extension, my agent I bought an annuity through the ball club. That was the lifesaver for me.
And you're also, I looked you up. I said, I got to call him. It's only been a short time. It's been 33, 34 years. He's been, the guy, he's in the back of my head once a week. I'm going to call him. And I saw that you did, you did very well with the construction business. So, that had to be satisfying. And did you carry the same attitude into the construction business that you had with with Major League Baseball, or was it a different mentality?
Oh, that's a whole different mentality. Plus my role in this company, there was 4 of us. So we had the contractor who had the license to build the houses. We had the sales guy. We had an accountant, and we had me. And I was the kind of the money guy. I was, funding, purchasing projects, funding, me and other people, and funding the building of the house and getting paid after it closed and was done. And I didn't do every house, but I did quite a few. But that's how I made my money in that company. And yeah, we would distribute some profit too. But unfortunately, me and my contractor partner were always against the other two guys, and we never won. We never got our way, and as a result, these two other guys cost us a lot of money. And when we did distribute the profit, there wasn't a whole lot of profit because, like I said, our sales guy was underpricing our houses and wouldn't listen to us and so forth. So all in all, when we ran out of property, we dissolved the company, and I was very happy to never see those two idiots again.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the guys was one of my best friends. That was the sales guy. And as a result, I have never talked to him since we dissolved the company. And the contractor guy is my new best friend, let's say. And I met this guy in 2010, let's say. We built 100 houses north of Reno. And we did it in an escalating market. And that's why I'm just going to make that comment to point out what idiots we had as partners, because they're not selling our houses the way they should be sold in an escalating market. And, I'm no businessman by any means, but I've bought and sold real estate, and I know, value and know how to do it. And like I said, it was always 2 against 2, and they wouldn't listen to me and my partner. And as a result, the house, we were out of property, and we're done. And we could have made a lot more money. Not talking about $3, $4, $5, $6 million more, which I could use today. Yeah, so could my partner.
I agree.
But that mentality, Mike, no, there was no room for anything like that there, except I wanted to beat his ass.
I don't.
They almost got in a fight a couple different times, but he knew better than to engage in that because it wasn't going to solve anything, and plus, it wouldn't even be a battle. It's done in 5 seconds.
Right.
But all it did was anger me. It just, it was almost like a guy making an error behind me. Except I could glare at this guy. I could threaten him or whatever.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there was no satisfaction in that business for 10 years.
Let me ask you this. 5 years
was fun, but the past 5, I couldn't wait for it to be done.
When you, if you ever if I complain about something in the broadcast business, or even back then, if you complain about something, or now if you complain about something, do you get this line? Because I've seen in my own business a lot of deterioration, a lot of lack of resolve, a lot of being afraid to ask the tough question, trying to build a relationship, which I did with plenty of people, like Walter Payton, Gail Sayers, Jeremy Roenick, Fergie Jenkins, Ernie Banks. For as much as I used to criticize people, I was friends also, and the Stars were always pretty good with me because they understood. When you're out of baseball, but do you ever hear people say this? Well, for instance, Mike, you've been in the business 34 years. Come on now. Some things are going to happen that are good. Some are going to happen bad. So you got to enjoy it. And I do. But do you hear the same thing? Hey, Dave, you know how many guys would like to pitch 15, 16 years regardless of what happened to you? Does that bother you? Because it's sort of like they're taking it for granted that you were just ushered in and there wasn't a lot of hard work and blood, sweat, and tears put in. They make it sound like it was so easy. And they're trying to say, hey, no matter what happens to you, you got to spend something doing time that we didn't get the chance to do.
No, what I hear the most is you had a great career. You should be happy with that. You're lucky to even play that, be a Major League Baseball player because it's so hard to do. You have to just take that from it and enjoy that. But you know what I say? That's not good enough. That's not good enough for me. No, I want it all. I want it all. And after it's all said and done, seeing what I did get, I didn't even come close to get it all. I mean, there's certain pitchers, like Verlander, Scherzer, Clemens, they got it all. They got it all.
Yeah.
They got all the notoriety. They got all the awards, all the accolades, all the money. They got everything. And yeah, I'm bitter about that. Because I wanted that. And now here I am. I can't do anything about it. I can't get it. It's done. It's gone. And there are people that cost me a fraction of getting it all.
There you go.
And yeah, it bothers me, but no, people just try to look at the glass half full. Hey, you were a Major League Baseball player. You had a great career. You should be happy with that. I guess someone not like me would be. But
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. There's a reason for you making it. There's a mentality involved. There's an attitude involved.
Exactly. You can't have the attitude, the desire to be perfect. You can't have that and have the success that I did, albeit limited success. At least it got me that. But
you had 7 All-Star teams. You were on 7 All. That's not limited success. That's where you need me as a therapist. I would tell you this. I won 7. You were so good.
All-Stars because a peer voted for me. A man,
Agreed.
a guy that wants me on his team on this special game because of my value, what I bring to it. That is how things should be done, by somebody who knows. And that's the reason I made 7 All-Star teams.
Do the baseball shows bother you? Because you talk about coddling people. The baseball shows like Baseball Tonight or the Baseball Network or Foul Play, Get Along Joes. I mean, the ex-jocks who won't call out their own because they're ex-jocks. Does that bother you?
I don't really watch those things. No, but you talk about network stuff. I mean, those guys, they have to be politically correct, say all the right things, and nobody ever really gets a real ass chewing that they maybe deserve. They don't point out about somebody's ripping off the organization because they're crappy and they're getting so much money. They're way overpaid. No, that never gets mentioned. And all they do is just try to talk about all the great things in the game and the great successes that are going on. And they sensationalize the game because that's what they need to do to have listeners. And I'll even go so far as to say, look at how they dress the women that do those shows. Oh, my God.
Yeah. The one on the Baseball Network one. Yeah, no doubt about it, my friend.
Yeah. So I hope I have not said too much, but man, it's a litany of stuff that you can talk about for days.
I get you. Well, you know what? I would love to see you.
What they do, what they're trying to achieve, it's flabbergasting. And I don't know, what you expect in 2025? It's got to evolve into something, right? And this is what it is.
Yeah, you know, when I talk to you, it really, you don't know this. I mean, we're in a bar. I don't know how many people must have watched you pitch. But, you know, this was before satellite dishes and everything else. But if it was the baseball game of the week, were you conscious of the whole nation? I know you pitched the same probably every week, but were there other posers? Were there other players that said, hey, guys, we're on national TV today. We've been on, good old KLTV in Minnesota with our Minnesota Twins, but we're getting on national TV. Did you heighten? And did the team heighten the way they play? And are guys now trying to make the fabulous catches and try to be more flamboyant because of highlights instead of just playing the game the way it should be played?
No, we did not make any difference if we were on TV or not, how we played. So there's a note of that. I couldn't tell you what guys' motives are for making a hard play or easy play look hard. I'm not sure how much that goes on. I would like to say it doesn't go on. I don't know. But, yes, in the outfield, I have seen guys go into a slide that don't need to and this and that. So, back in the day, you'd call that guy a style master, and, I don't want that on my team. Just make the play. Don't try to make it look like it was harder than it is. Just make the play. And I wanted to get back on one of the subject about the media. When I first came up, like I told you, I had a hard time transitioning, being a pitcher and relying on these guys' success for my success. I was never told about the media that, man, it's in your best interest if you just suck up to them. It's in your best interest to be nice to them. I was never told any of this. And I never knew anything about, oh my God, all these guys with cameras, microphones in my face after a game. What is this? This is like intimidating. And I was very self-conscious of what I would say. And just like the perfectionist I am, I wanted to give a perfect interview. I didn't want to stutter. I didn't want to, say something stupid. And I never cared for that part of it. And as a result, I wasn't liked. And I'll tell you, there's definitely times where I gave them good reason not to like me. Like if I got my butt kicked, let's say I went 2 2/3, gave up 7 hits and 7 runs, and they come to talk to me after the game, you know what my answer was? What are you doing here? Why don't you go talk to somebody that did something?
Perfect.
And I understand, why do you want to talk to me? I stunk. But
that's why they want to talk to you, because they want to know why you stunk. Why did you? In other words, if a pitcher said, if I come up to you and I'm a writer and I go, Dave, rough outing tonight, 3 2/3 innings. You threw about 60 pitches. You couldn't find a location. I mean, how'd you feel before the game when you were warming up? That's got to be some sort of question that would anger you immediately. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, no, because I would have said, well, if I knew warming up that this was going to be the result, I'd have told the manager, hey, I can't go today.
See, people don't know this, folks. Dave Stieb has a hell of a sense of humor. I do know this. I've watched Dave Stieb on any interview show, on any baseball television show as an analyst. And how long? And I'd probably be as close. And you know how long we'd last? 1 week, maybe. We'd be thrown out because of the lack of honesty in the game today by everybody involved. I mean, would I be off base in saying that, or you concur?
No, that's exactly true. I've had people say, why don't you go do ESPN or do that? I go, I'd be fired the first day.
That's right.
I'd be gone.
I know.
There's no room for that, I told you. It's got to be sensationalized. It's got to be blown out of proportion. You've got to make it larger than life. And you can only focus on the extreme great success that people are having.
That's true. You don't hear a lot.
There's no bad in baseball.
I agree, because, the Cubs have been going through a tailspin, and they're winning today. And they lost about 15 games in the standings over the last 2 months. They're about 8 back now of the Milwaukee Brewers. But we're here. Well, maybe this is the start of something good. Instead of saying you guys have sucked so long and you blew it for yourselves. You had the hottest first half, but you won't hear any of that. So you're absolutely right. It's been homogenized. A lot of guys now, though, a lot of reporters are afraid of losing their gigs. Where back in the day, they were more, I think. Well, I'm going to take that back. Could you have ridden on a train with reporters like Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and those guys did back in the day, who maybe they wouldn't criticize the big boys, but if there's 25 guys on the team and the writers get to travel on the same train with the team, how would that have sat with you? And did that happen? Did any reporters ever fly with you guys?
Of course they did.
Oh. So you didn't buy drinks? You didn't buy him drinks?
I don't think late in my career, I could be wrong. I don't know. But yes, they traveled with us.
Wow. I know Carey traveled with the
writers, Kevin Boland with Toronto. Mm-hmm. He's the reason I wrote my book. And he's probably one of the few writers that I liked. And it's only because that guy got me. And he understood me. And he said, after the 85 season, he said, listen, I want to write a book with you. And I go, why would I write a book? He goes, it's a chance to tell your story, to tell people how you're misunderstood. And that is the only reason I did it, because I thought at that time, well, he's got a point. You will find out exactly how I feel, why I do what I do, and you'll understand all this. So I was hoping there'd be some good that came out of it, but I really don't know if it any good did come out of it. All I know, it was a pain in the ass to do the thing. And then I didn't know I was going to have to travel across Canada to promote the book. And it's one of those things, like my comeback in my career, what's done is done. I've got to see it through. And because when I made my comeback, next thing you know, in the minor leagues, I'm going, what did I do? What did I do? Now I have to do this because all the media knows I'm coming back. Everybody knows I'm coming back. And I can't say, I thought about it for 5 minutes, and that's just a bad idea. Just like writing a book, the book's already written. Now I got to go across the country. At that point, I want to say, no, I don't want to do it now. But I had to. But so that book being written, that's the only reason it was written, to let people understand me and why I do what I do.
Will you ever be do you think you'll ever get complete understanding from fans? I think the Toronto fans adored you. I think they adored you. I think that your fan base there, they know what you meant to the game. I just read off all your records that you still hold. And you were also at the 20th anniversary of the Blue Jays team that won it all. And that had to feel good. Am I right or wrong? You threw the ceremonial first pitch, celebrating the 20th anniversary of your no-hitter, which had to feel good. When they call you, were you saying, okay, yeah, because you're finally recognizing something that I did?
Well, that didn't really, I didn't take it as that. It was just something that I had to do because it's a 20-year anniversary, and it was a big thing because it's still to this date, knock on wood 3 times, the only one. And between me and you, I would like to keep it that way because
I love this guy. Like, you don't want nobody throwing a no-hitter besides you, right?
I don't want anyone else in my club. Is that selfish or what? I don't know.
No, I understand. I understand.
Have that.
I understand the whole thing.
Can I just have that?
Yeah, really, but you got 7 records, but they don't talk about it.
So I can tell you too, the media thing, the book thing, it's interviews like this, I guess, that I don't do all the time at all, that will help people understand me, I guess, because I'm laying it all out there. It's probably the most I've talked about certain subjects ever. So there is that.
Well, I'm not done with you. I'm not done.
And still resentful. I still harbor, my lack of receiving awards, and it's bittersweet. It really is. The career, the accolades, the stuff. It's bittersweet. It's great, but it's not enough. Let me
ask you this. I got to jump in on this. You all of a sudden are in the same clubhouse with Jack Morris. I know how, from just this interview alone, and I know from the night that you tapped me on the back, that if you bring in an arch rival into the Toronto Blue Jay clubhouse, what was your relationship? Did you guys ever talk? I'm sure you had to work out together, but was there sort of a pretend type of friendship? And did you even like Jack Morris?
I might have to see him in the future, so I don't want to say I didn't like him. No, I hated Jack Morris. I hated everything about him because he was going to cost me wins, and he was on a better team than I was for a number of years, which is not fair, but that's just the way the game is. And I took that as a challenge. Yeah, you're on a better team than me. You might even be a better pitcher than me, but you know what? Today, I got a chance to beat you because we're going to toe it up against each other. And I just hope my team rises to the occasion, and I can laugh at you tomorrow when I'm out there during BP, and I beat your ass yesterday. Yes. Mm-hmm. That is okay.
Then let me ask you this.
Like that built over the years, that is gratifying, and that gives you incentive. Okay. As far as being on the same team with him that year, man, it was hard to take, man, because we were bitter rivals.
You couldn't stand him. You couldn't stand the guy.
Do something like that.
Yeah. So he comes walking in. He comes walking in as a hot shot. Dave Stieb is right there. You've been the big man. what type of pitcher was he compared to you? I know that he had success and he let everybody know. He had the growl on the mound, a lot like you. He had the attitude, a lot like you. But it just seemed like he was politically, if you want to understand this, more in tune. Would I be fair with that assessment?
More what?
Politically. In other words, how to get into a manager's head, how to get more opportunities, how to use your leverage. You were just out there trying to win games. You said you didn't even know how writers were going to be when you got to the major leagues. Jack Morris seemed to be one of these guys, and he was a surly son of a gun too at certain times. Weren't you guys basically the same dudes? And wasn't that one of the main problems that maybe you two had?
Yeah. Wow.
Forget it. You're not going to answer. Now let it go. I don't want you to answer because I know if you're holding back after the interview we've just had, you're going to forget about it. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. But
yeah, I don't want to.
What kind of pitcher was he compared to you though?
But
what kind of pitcher was he? Were there some likenesses and some things that you guys could get together on and say, yeah, we both did this, or were you completely different? That's all.
Oh, no. We were very similar. Oh, yeah, very similar. And, are you asking me if we talked about that when he was on my team that one year? No, didn't really, because,
Yeah, I know. I've been there. I know.
I'm pitching, and, Jack would go out there and we'd score 7, 8, 9 runs. And I remember one time late in the season, he'd go, "Let's go, boys. I've never lost with 9."
Oh, my God. And you couldn't get 3.
Yeah, and I'm like, God, dude, you never lost with 9. Well, I don't think I have either. But you understand that you're scoring runs almost every time you go out there and pitch. So he was in that rotation where we would score runs. And I don't know if it's because of who he was pitching against, because I know he wasn't going against their ace. Mm-hmm. And I spent a lot of my career going against the ace every time. And, that makes it harder to score runs for you. Mm-hmm. But so there is that. And, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it happened every game. Yeah, I had some games where he scored 10, 12, 13 runs. Sure, but that's bound to happen. But Jack was just cocky in a sense of, man, he had, the thing about him, he had that split finger fastball, and that thing was nasty. Yeah. I didn't have that. I was pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher when I first came up. A sinker, slider. That was it. Then I started developing a changeup, which never really developed. It was
later on, right? In your career, you were a power pitcher early, and then you started getting some breaking stuff.
And that's how I pitched. Then I started throwing this over-the-top curveball, which, gave me a different look. And but Jack, he threw great fastball, great good slider. But that sinker, split finger was his pitch, man. And guys would swing at it, and it was devastating. It's like Tom Hankey had a devastating split finger. But these guys got big fingers, and I could not grip that split finger. I couldn't do it. And it's a devastating pitch. But, Jack and I were very similar, except he had that one pitch that I didn't have. And he was cocky, though. He was very cocky. But, and that's one of the things I was going to say to you, too, about Jack Morris and Sparky Anderson. Sparky Anderson would never throw him in the bullpen. I don't care how bad he was doing. Never, ever throw him in the bullpen.
Good point.
That guy was handed the ball every game. Unlike me in 92. Unlike me. And here's this guy, of all people, played for a guy that gave him the ball every time. He comes over here and gave him the ball every time. And it wasn't even a thing of, yeah, Jack, you are good, but you're older now, just like Dave is. And you're not blowing people away. You're winning 5-6 and 8-5 and whatever. And it didn't matter though. You're winning. Here's the ball. You're winning.
I get it. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you something. This has been unbelievable. It's one of the best I've ever heard an athlete come out and not just talk about yourself and the way that you did. You find we all, hey, if we had the wisdom we have now back then, you know, I don't know what the saying is, but if you know, as you get older, you get smarter. But you know, what made you excel is what you were.
What I know now.
Oh.
That's the same. I wish I knew then what I know now.
I agree.
Oh, yeah. That's huge.
No doubt about it. And people don't talk about it. Dave, I want to thank you for that. Finally, we hooked up after 33 years. You threw up. It's gonna. Adam Rifkin is right now we're working on a screenplay. We were going to do it in 2018-19, then COVID hit, and then all hell broke loose. But you know, I always tell people this story. I must have told 500 people this story, plus on the air to thousands. And I always got the impression that half of them didn't believe it, because it's an unbelievable story of an athlete near the end of his career trying to get back to where he was and had nobody to throw to. And I don't think another talk show host could have done what I did that night. I'm going to have a little Jack Stieb in me. That day, I don't think there's another columnist or talk show host that could have done and caught Dave Stieb, because you did have some steam on the pitches. I think you were thinking about Jack Morris or something like that when you threw a couple of those pitches. But I want to thank you so much for coming on, man. And I will keep in touch with you now. I'm going to come. I probably come. How's Reno, by the way? How's that? I mean, you know, it would be hard for me back in the day. Now I want to go to bed by 9. But how's Reno?
Reno's awesome. Reno's awesome. I love it.
I love you too, man. I appreciate this very much. Aldo, would you like to ask Dave a couple parting questions?
Well, I just have to compliment both of you, and you in particular, Dave, for being so candid and giving us a look at your mindset and your competitive spirit. And you've revealed some things that I think a lot of people didn't know about Dave Stieb. And I'm a baseball fan. And when you pitched in the 80s and early 90s, you were destination TV.
He was.
You just had to see this guy pitch because he had command of the mound. He was a competitor, like the great competitors in all of sports.
Right.
Expected the very best out of his teammates and out of himself. And you let that be known. And today, with this interview with Mike, you've revealed what was behind that and what is still bothering you a bit about how your baseball career was handled by others. So appreciate the candor very much, Dave.
And by the way, Dave, real quick here, and great stuff by Aldo, but real quick, you're not the only guy that feels this way. You're the only guy that's going to say something, but I know you keep touch with certain people and you know certain pitchers and everybody like that. So unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Aldo, for those nice words.
You bet, brother. Thank you very much for being on.
You were actually listening to this.
Every word. I was on the edge of my seat.
Let me tell you something, and Aldo will back me up on this. This is the fewest amount of words I was ever allowed to say in an interview. I let you roll, and I'm glad.
You know what, Mike? I was thinking going into this should be easy because Mike can't shut up. It didn't work out that way.
You're the greatest. Hey,
Dave, one quick question before I let you go. So when you at Gibson's restaurant and you touch Mike on the back, were you intending to punch him out, or were you just going to go and talk to him?
No, you know, I don't remember it quite like he does. I just, with what he said, obviously it had to happen. My intentions were to confront him about what he said, because when Mike and I had talked a couple of weeks ago when we set this up was, why would you say something like that about me? I'm coming here trying to get a fresh start and you're already putting a damper on it. And that's the only thing I wanted to say to him. Yeah. Well, why would you just write me off right away? And I think that's probably what I said to him and this and that. And, you know, the rest is history.
I got to ask you this, Dave, real quick.
I have no intentions of hitting him or fighting or causing a scene. No, I just wanted to hear what he had to say to my face.
And I did. And I ended up catching you. By the way, who told you You had never met me before. I've always wanted to know who from the White Sox told you I'd be a good fit.
How did I know it was you? I don't know. That's the weirdest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
heard the interview. Somebody must have heard me.
Oh yeah,
and tipped you off. Well, the White Sox have always been good to me. I can't tell you that. I've been a lifelong fan, but I can't, I don't even know if I got parking, to be honest with you. Dave, I love you, buddy. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Take care, Dave, Steve. Wonderful guy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dave, Steve,
unbelievable.
Mike, an incredible interview. When the life of Dave Stieb is studied again for whatever project, this interview is going to be a major source of information. You did a wonderful job interviewing Dave. Congratulations.
Well, you know what? I knew that he was still pissed off about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. And I had to keep my mouth shut for the most part because he wanted to come on. He couldn't believe I called him. To me, I'm vindicated in a way because I know there's some people that thought that never happened to me.
Yeah.
It happened. The whole thing happened. And Adam Rifkin is going to watch this, and people in Hollywood. To me, it's an unusual story. I mean, it would be like Greenberg. It would be like Greeny saying something about Justin Field. And Justin Field hears about it and confronts him at a bar that night after a bad game or something, or near the end of his career, and says, well, why don't you go to Central Park and catch some balls from me for a while and help me out? Because he actually needed somebody to catch him. I can't believe the White Sox had, and I guess it was a car situation or something, but that shouldn't have mattered. They should have flown him to the damn road site that they were at. It's so White Sox even back then.
Yep.
Instead of making him throw to a talk show. So he was fantastic. A lot better than I ever thought he'd be. He didn't hold back. I'll tell you that right now. There's no love lost between him and most of the league and some of the players. But I would like to talk to him and say, man, he doesn't know how good he was. That's the problem.
Yes.
The person that's doing it don't know it.
Yes.
You just said it. You said it at the end. That's why you were great. You get your shot and you go, wait a minute. We were like the Toronto Blue Jays when Dave Stieb pitched in the 80s.
Right.
We're watching. He was like Randy Johnson or any of the pitcher, Clemens. He was and then making the All-Star team. It's like, I should have had more, But man, he had 7. How many pitchers make 7 All-Star teams? But
unbelievable. Yeah.
He brought up a good point. I made the All-Star teams because the managers knew how good I was. And that's where the media, sometimes including me, including you, including everybody, has to take a step back. And we don't, because our job, and he says, I couldn't understand why this guy, and I'm not talking behind his back. We already discussed this. That was my job. And you know what? For 33 years, I said, I'm going to call this guy next week. I'm going to call this guy next week. I was 30. I was like 41, 42 years old, and I'm 72 now. Wow. I was married. Literally, I had just gotten my job with the Score the year before. I was married 15 years. I'm going to be married 48. That's the last time I talked to this guy, and he's the same way. Only go younger, go up, and he's in my face. In my face, in a bar filled with people, including some buddies of mine. And they're like this. They couldn't believe it. I mean, picture today, maybe a Boyle from the Cubs hearing something on the air. Okay, and this happened to me in clubhouses, but to be confronted in a restaurant at 9:30 at night with drinks in our hands and Gibson's was jammed to the hilt. It's just it's a remembrance I'll never forget. It really is. And he showed me I used to tell you about this over the past 5-6 years. I never know what I thought I was a competitor. This guy, he actually said, folks, I don't want another guy throwing a no-hitter for Toronto. I don't want it because I did it. But wait a minute. He forgets he has the most wins, has the most starts, has the most shutouts, has the most strikeouts, has the most complete games, has the most all-stars for a pitcher, Toronto pitcher. He won 140 games. And who? They hated each other. I can read through the lines. I've been doing this long enough. They didn't say shit to each other. Yeah. These guys didn't say nothing to each other. And that happens at every job where there's a problem, where somebody comes in out of nowhere. It's just not baseball. It's radio, it's TV, it's the new iron worker that's coming in that was grabbed by the it's the new. You've been through it. We've all been through it. But see, I know I'm very fortunate. And because BB has told me over the years, you know what you did. No, nobody goes, nobody's going to pat the good ones on the back. But you know what you did. And that's where Donna comes in. That's where everybody's close people come in. Apparently, I didn't ask about Dave's private life. There's somebody that maybe in his private life going, yeah, you got screwed. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to lighten it up. Because I tried to talk to him. And I said, Dave, let me be your therapist.
that was you know what though, Mike, I applause for you for not only the great interview, but there were times where he was battling with revealing something that would have been
a
derogatory statement, and you, with a lot of class, Mike, you said let's skip over that.
Let's move on from that one thing. And then I asked him about it 5 minutes later, and he got it anyway. If you remember, I asked him about Jack Morris. Okay,
that's right.
I asked him I go, what about Jack Morris? And he goes, I'd rather not say. I might see Jack down the line. Okay, what was Cedar Gaston like, and what was this guy like? And then 5 minutes later, this Jack Morris thing. It didn't seem like Jack Morris was a tool. And he just came out and said it. And I could see it on. These are two guys that were the same. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, very much so.
But I'd have more. If they had him on Baseball Tonight, I'd watch every goddamn time. Yeah. Every time, because that's what's missing, as you know. Yes. From everything.
Yes.
From everything.
Yes.
Just look, that was, to me, I've done over 21,000 interviews, 22,000. Steve Stone said, I'm the best interviewer he ever heard. I hardly said anything in this interview, and I put it right up there. Yeah. Because I got a guy from the 80s firing away, Well, my partner sucked. The other pitcher sucked. Cedar Gaston sucked. Everybody sucked. By the way,
yes, sir.
I just was noticing your hair. Is this the Shota Imanaga look? With the long hair? My God. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the lead guitarist from Procol Harum.
Yeah, I'm losing my hair on top. It's rapidly.
I got it. Are you afraid to take it off?
Yeah, I am. Because
I understand. If
I grew up
how's my toupee?
Your toupee, my ass. That your hair is is worthy.
I understand. I would if I was bald, I'd be blaming my barber like Dave Stieb blaming somebody from 40 years ago.
I'm blaming everybody except genetics. But
exactly.
It is.
You look good though. I like the look.
Thank you. It's taken me a while to get used to the fact that I'm losing it, because that was my thing.
Oh, that sucks.
You got great hair,
You did.
No more.
When we met.
Yes.
I'll tell you another guy when we met. Had great hair. Jesse Rogers.
Jesse
had great hair.
I saw that picture.
He actually took an endorsement for a toupee company, but he had to wear it. Yeah, he had a toupee. Ask him when you see him. I was just with him at his house the other night.
Yeah, I saw that picture. Yeah.
He had a toupee. And I'll never forget it. He took relentless pounding from everybody. And that wasn't good at the score back in the day. And Justin got rid of that endorsement. And he's got a great look now. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, he's a good looking
I feel
guy.
like the other night he did baseball tonight, and then he came on afterwards and he was perfect until the end. I had to tell him over dinner. He said, "What?" Well, I told it on the ESPN 1000 with Carmen. He was immaculate for an hour and a half. So good. Then he said, "Well, the Cubs need a win to keep pace with the Brewers."
No, Jesse.
No, I said, then I had to tell, and I said it on ESPN 1000. After D-Day, the Germans didn't go. Let's keep pace with the Americans. It's over.
Yeah.
Hey. Now the Cubs, I guess, are winning today.
Well, they need more than one win, right?
I'm praying they get in the wild card.
Yeah.
So now we only got a few minutes left because we're both exhausted. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do this football season. We got to go out to lunch.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, tremendous job by you with the pictures, the production.
Oh.
And every time you'd flash one of those things, I'd be ready to talk about it, but he wouldn't be quiet. And then you'd get rid of it. And I go, then you went this way. And no. So just a tremendous job by you. And I was worried at the beginning.
Oh my goodness, me too.
What happened? Just a switch?
He didn't want to do on video, and so
which would suck, by the way. He would have been fantastic.
Yes.
But maybe he don't talk as much. I don't know.
So I had to call him on my phone, and then I realized that I needed to have a certain button on so that you wouldn't hear. And then I realized it the second time we called.
That's right.
And it was fine.
Listen, I don't have one of those phones. I have a flip phone.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, they're brand new now. And I'll tell you what. I have a buddy of mine. I'm not going to name him.
Uh-huh.
But we went golfing about 3 weeks ago, and he butt dialed me. And I heard him in a conversation with his wife saying, "Yeah, we were gonna go fourth in line, but Crazy Mike gave the starter $20, and we got pushed up to 1." Thank God that's all bad it is.
Yeah, really.
Right. Real quick. I want to just say I'm very happy for the Bears. I was.
Good.
And I'm very happy for Caleb Williams. The 2 passes he threw, and I say it. I admit it. I admit things. I'm not one of those guys. I will tell you when you play good. Those 2 passes he made were 2 of the prettiest passes he threw, including last year. I like the way the team came out. But Greg Olson did not give you the whole story. This has nothing to do with anything, because I've sat through preseason games. They used to call them exhibition games, where we lost to the Chiefs 63-3. We lost to the St. Louis Cardinals in the Shriners game, like 55-10. I don't feel sorry for anybody that doesn't play their starters. Yeah. Okay. This is the same thing that happened last year, though, kids. And I want everybody to know this. I know they were improved because we had a lot better offensive game this year than last year. But last year, the Bears put up 33-6 because they didn't play their starters with Eberflus. That's all I'm telling everybody. Let's calm down. But it looked good. I like a lot of the skill position players. Komet made a great. Let's knock off the trade Komet stuff, folks. Okay? Knock that crap off. Yeah. You don't build a Super Bowl team by getting rid of studs. I don't care if I'm real. He's a stud. That catch he made was perfect. He had nice hands. He had separation. They were playing second and third string guys. I don't give a crap. That was impressive. They did practice for this game for 2 weeks because Ben they ran that 80 plays like they were ready for the Super Bowl. They want to look good. Yeah. And Ben wants to make sure they're ready.
And give them some confidence.
Right? He wants to give them some confidence.
Right.
And they've been in the doldrums for a long time. But I will say this. We were 4-0 in preseason last year, and we ended up 5-12, where Buffalo looked like crap last year, and this year they're taking heat. They were 13-4. But all I'm going to say is there was some semblance of order on the sidelines. Yes. There was a guy with a commanding position standing there with the play card in his hand. A head coach with the play card in his hand. And that matters, folks. Yeah. Because I haven't seen a lot of that over 61 years. I've sat through Ed Hughes I've sat through the worst. We've all sat through the worst. This guy seems to have a gauge on things. Now it's up to the players. I will say, I don't think DJ Moore, I love him, but when you hear the head coach say, and I don't know if you've talked about this with Coach Gabriel, and I think we're going to put him at running back, maybe. That's because you don't have one, maybe, unless what we saw the other night. That's, once again, I want to see what they do against starters. If there was a Peyton back there or a Montgomery or somebody else, they wouldn't even be entertaining this. And I also believe, and I want your take on this, I don't think if DJ Moore was a free agent and Ben was the coach at the time, I don't think they grab him. Because last year he averaged, and this is partly Caleb's fault, but he averaged 9.9 yards a catch. He didn't even average 1,000 yards a catch. Tom Waddle averaged 11 yards a catch. Brian Bashnagel averaged 12 some yards a catch. So I think DJ Moore, if you were going to, I think he likes speed. And I think the guys we have on the flanks are faster than DJ Moore. I don't know what your opinion is.
Yeah, I think he wants to use DJ like Deebo Samuel. If you want,
that's a good point. They're doing it there. Good
out
point.
Of the backfield, short passes, because DJ's strength is breaking tackles, and so that's how he's going to be used primarily, and as a decoy. You saw, what DJ did the best against Buffalo was just opening stuff, the middle of the field up for the tight ends, for Colston Loveland, the first-round draft pick, and for Cole Kmet. And so that's, I think, what DJ's role is going to be. There's a lot of offensive weapons, and Ben Johnson is very fortunate to have these weapons.
Yeah, he is.
We'll see.
It's gonna be fun, and like you said, we'll see. We're not gonna fall for anything, but if we would have lost the other night, I would have been pissed.
Yes.
I'd be a hypocrite. If I said it on Twitter. I expect the Bears starters to kick ass tonight, and it happened. And I would have been all over them. So I'm happy as hell that we saw what we saw, to be honest.
Well, Friday night's last exhibition game, preseason game against the Chiefs have announced that Patrick Mahomes and the starters are going to play. So that almost forces Ben Johnson to play his starters. Now, all of this great feeling among us Chicago Bears fans
We've been there.
Quickly disappear. And
we've been there.
Our ass 38 to 9.
Well, you know what? Why am I, and maybe it's because we've been beaten down so long. Okay. We're the abused spouse in the relationship between us. That somebody says something and you're like, no, that's not going to happen, and that's a bad analogy now that I think about it, but that's beside the point.
Okay.
Why am I worried about the first 4 games?
Yeah, it's a tough schedule.
Why am I worried about? I am worried anyway. I mean, they got teams that are on the hot seat to make the playoffs. Who we got? Who do we got the first 4 games?
Let's see. Oops, where did I go?
That's okay.
All right. I got the schedule here. We have the Vikings on Monday Night Football, the Lions, the Cowboys, and then a road game against the Raiders. And then on week 5, we got a bye.
I got 2-2.
2-2? Yeah.
I'm gonna take them beating Minnesota. I'm sorry. I love all the rookies. Look, if somebody said Caleb Williams isn't going to be your quarterback, and either Bo Nix or Jaden Daniels or Drake May or McCartney are going to be your quarterbacks this year, I go, okay, we'll see what happens. And then next year that's where they are right now. I respect all 5 quarterbacks, but for week 1 against, if the Bears don't win this game on week 1 with a brand new rookie quarterback who sat out with injury last year, I'll be stunned. They'll lose to Detroit. I think they've been waiting for Ben Johnson because he was chirping. I like them to beat Dallas, especially if Micah Parsons isn't there. And I'm not sure about the Raiders. I'm not. And Pete Carroll was I heard Kyle Brandt, scold the Bear fans. You should never scold the Bear fans. Ever.
Right.
Ever, Kyle. Ever. You're from here. What the hell are you doing? I hear you on the NFL Network because you lost Schrager and Kay Adams. That was a great show. And they got you with a bunch of yes men or yes people talking. And you're going, Bear fans, shut up. You know better than that. You know better. You listen to me. Don't tell me to shut up. Don't tell Aldo to shut up. We've been there, and you've been there. I think they want you to play the heavy. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. Don't be a heavy. Be like you've always been. You've been great. It's not your fault they got rid of that show. And that show was a great show.
It really was. It really was.
He said everybody, and this is what ticked me off.
Mr. Shorty, by the way, says, you see how many players the Vikings have lost? You shouldn't be down on the Bears.
We're dead. We're dead after that comment. Jesus Christ. No, I'm with you. I said I'm not worried about him. I said we're going to win that. Well, we replaced most of our line too, Mr. Ciordi or whatever the hell your name is.
That's Daniel Fiorentino.
Okay, tell Danny, did we not just pick up 3? We're still looking for a left tackle. And we got Tooney, and we got this guy and that guy. We got new guys.
That's right.
I mean, we're not the Vikings do have Turner. You can't Sam Darnold, and maybe it's the coach. He's tremendous. But for Sam Darnold to win 14 games, is he going to win? I don't think nobody's going to win 14. That kid will not win 14. It's hard to win 14 games. That was a shocker. I don't know. I might have kept the guy. I got to be honest with you. Seattle's got him now. Sam Darnold.
Do you like J.J. McCarthy, their Vikings?
Yes.
Yeah.
You win a national championship. Who's got more pressure? Him to win 10 games this year, maybe 9, 10. They want to get in the playoffs, but they lost their coach his first year. I'm sorry. If you've played in front of 112,000 people for the national championship, and you've played in front of your whole career in front of the Michigan 100,000 people. Damn, my good point. Yeah, I'm just saying. That's pressure.
Yeah.
That's pressure to try to win at Michigan and to beat Ohio State. Yeah. I mean, there's an argument to be made that someday you're going to play in big games, kid, and he's going to have to say, I already played in big games, period. So I think that matters, just like the other guys. I think they're all good quarterbacks, but I'm hoping for ours because Poles believed in them, and maybe we saw something here. That was a perfect. I mean, I cannot say 97 yards and no mistakes. You can have plans. Me and Aldo had plans, and then I go, "Where's Aldo?" you can have plans. It don't mean the plan's going to work.
Where's Waldo?
That's what I'm going to call the movie. Where's Aldo? Well, what do you think? I think we're going to be okay. We got coming up. Well, hopefully, we're going to start doing maybe some more interviews. That was fun.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. I hope I hope people see it.
I hope so too. We'll start promoting it and sending it out on our various platforms.
Yeah, maybe do a cut or something. Maybe do a cut. Who knows? I don't know.
We will definitely do a cut.
I hate everybody. See you later. I after my own heart. My God. You know what? As he was talking, I was looking at you, and he was going, this guy's this, and this guy's that, and you and I were going,
exactly.
Yeah, you're not too far up. Good job, Rahl Jewelers. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And
let's tell people where they can be located. See, I got a little video here that tells people. It's not the one that I
get it. Was it?
Oh, that's okay. Rahl Jewelers is the proud sponsor of Raging Mouth, the Mike North story. And you can find Rahl Jewelers, Mike, at 3001 Barrington Road in Hoffman Estates. Their phone number is 847-765-3000. And visit their website, rahljewelers.com.
And tell Brad Gams, ask for Brad Gams and say, Mike North, I want the Mike North discount.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody.
You're the absolute best.
You too, Aldo.
On a great interview.
Yeah, we had a good time today.
We'll talk to you
job,
soon,
my friend. See everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.